Hey guys, today I will be updating my 2020 presidential election map. This is mainly because 4 new A+ rated pollsters by 538 have come out with some new polls in just this past week. I think this is pretty major because this is the first time in which all 4 of these pollsters have actually come out with polls, or for the first time in a very long time that they have come out with polls for the 2020 presidential election. These are the ABC and Washington Post, the Marist College pollster, the Siena College and New York Times, as well as Monmouth University. All 4 are A+ rated pollsters. These are the best pollsters rated by 538. So I'm just going to be taking a look at what impact these new polls have had on the 2020 presidential election by taking a look at the new updated map for this week. So starting off with the state of Alabama, we're going to go in alphabetical order again. I think this is just the most efficient way to do this. In the state of Alabama, Donald Trump leads by 18.9% here. Definitely a good sign for him. This is in the deep south, so he should be leading with a pretty safe margin here. Following that, the state of Alaska, Trump only leads by 3% here. I think this is a very bad sign for the Trump campaign. This state was a state that was safe for Mitt Romney in 2012, went very well for John McCain in 2008. Trump won this state by over 14% in 2016, but now he leads by 3% in the state of Alaska. I think that Joe Biden still absolutely stands no chance here in the state of Alaska, but I think that he is still going to pull off a very good performance here, considering that he is a Democrat. The state of Arizona, 11 electoral votes. Currently, Joe Biden leads by 4.8% in the state of Arizona, a state that Trump carried by over 3% in 2016, and a state that is going to be very important in deciding the victor in this election. So Joe Biden, definitely a good sign for him here. According to the latest Monmouth University poll, Biden leads by 4% in one of them, 2% in the other, and then they are even in the last poll, while according to the Siena and New York Times, currently Joe Biden leads by 9% on average in the state of Arizona. So Arizona is going to be put into the lean Biden column, and if you don't know how to make my classifications, solid is anything above 15%, between 7 and 15% is likely, between 2 and 7% is lean, and then of course between 0 and 2% is tilt, and this applies for Donald Trump as well. The state of Arkansas currently has only been one poll out of this state for the 2020 election cycle, so I'm just going to have to go with it. Trump leads by 2%, so that's going to be a lean state. This is a state that no Democrat has ever won since Bill Clinton. This was his home state, so that was really not that much of a surprise. He won this state in 1992 and 1996, and ever since, no Democrat has been able to carry the state of Arkansas. The state of California is next. Biden leads by 29.6% here, one of the most liberal states in the entire country. Joe Biden, definitely a solid state for the former vice president here. The state of Colorado, 9 electoral votes. Joe Biden only leads by 9.9% here. This is definitely down from his peak period when he led by over 15% in the summer. However, this is still expected to be a pretty solid state for the Democrats, definitely outperforming Clinton's 2016 margins. That's going to be a likely state for Joe Biden. The state of Connecticut is going to be solid for the former vice president. Joe Biden leads by 20.4%. And then in the state of Delaware, this is Joe Biden's home state. He currently leads by a margin of 21% in the latest poll out of his home state, in which he served as a senator for over 36 years before becoming Barack Obama's vice president. And then the District of Columbia, there's no data out of Washington, D.C. Almost definitely going to be a solid blue state, the most solid blue area in the entire country, but there's no data, so we're going to fill all of the no data states in at the end of this video. Following the District of Columbia is the state of Florida. Biden leads by 2.2% here, so I'm going to put that into the lean column. However, this is not a good sign for Biden. He led by almost 8% in his peak in the summer, so that is definitely a large step down for the vice president here in the state of Florida, only leading by 2%. And in the state of Florida, the latest Monmouth University numbers puts Biden at 5%, 5%, and 3%, which I think is still a good sign that he's going to win the state, but definitely not seeing the margin that he once had here. And so that's going to be in the lean column, while the state of Georgia is going to be in the tilt Republican column. This state, I think, is going to be pretty close. Donald Trump currently leads by 1.4% here in the state of Georgia, one of the most important states. I don't think that Trump can win re-election without the state of Georgia. I just think that if the state of Georgia were to go to Joe Biden, I think that many other states would flip blue this election as well. So the state of Georgia's 16 electoral votes is currently in the Trump column. The state of Hawaii, Joe Biden leads by 27%, one of the most liberal states in the country as well. For electoral votes, it will definitely be put into the solid Biden column. The state of Idaho, this is one of the newer states in which we have data from. Currently, Donald Trump leads by 25% in the state of Idaho. The state of Illinois, there's no data here. Pretty surprising considering that Illinois has a pretty large population, but currently there is no data out of the state of Illinois at this moment. The state of Indiana, 11 electoral votes. This is Mike Pence's home state. Trump was able to carry the state with a solid margin in 2016. However, now he only leads by 14.4%, so barely a likely margin, very close to becoming a solid margin. However, Indiana will once again be put into the likely Trump column. State of Kansas, this is definitely a sign of decline for the Republican Party here, especially in the center of the country. Currently, the state of Kansas is only polling in favor of President Trump by 9.5%. I personally do not think that this is going to be a solid state on election night, and it's just pretty surprising to see that a Republican is not going to win with a solid margin in the state of Kansas. The state of Kentucky, currently Trump leads by 18.6%, so definitely going to be solid for the president, while the state of Louisiana is going to be a likely Trump state. He currently leads by 11.5%, definitely not a good sign. Louisiana is in the deep south here, and he only leads by 11.5%, so definitely a sign of decline for the Republican Party as well here. And the state of Maine does split the electoral votes, 2 for the at-large vote, and then 1 for the 1st and 2nd district, while the 2nd district is the swing district, while the 1st district right now is safe for Joe Biden. Of course, he leads by 28% here, and the Maine at-large vote is currently a likely vote right now. Joe Biden leads on average by 14.1%, and according to the latest CNN and New York Times poll, Joe Biden leads by a whole 17%, according for Maine's at-large vote. While the 2nd district, the poll shows that Joe Biden only leads by 2%, while the average for Joe Biden here is 5%, so that is going to go into the lean Biden column. The state of Maryland is next. This is one of the most liberal states as well. Joe Biden leads pretty comfortably here with a margin of 24% on average. And then the state of Massachusetts, this is Elizabeth Warren's home state. Joe Biden leads by 33.9%. This is the most liberal state in the entire country, according to the 2016 numbers. The state of Michigan is next, 16 electoral votes. Joe Biden leads by 7.7%. So his numbers have definitely gone up here recently, and that is a good sign for Joe Biden. He leads by 7.7% in the state of Michigan. The state of Minnesota is next. Joe Biden leads by 8.8% here, so it's definitely a good sign for Joe Biden that he now leads by a larger margin in the state of Minnesota than he does in the state of Michigan, currently leading by 8.8% on average. And according to the latest CNN and New York Times poll, Joe Biden leads by 9%, and according to the latest ABC and Washington Post poll, he leads by 16 and 17% respectively. So I think that is a very good sign for Joe Biden in the state of Minnesota. His numbers have definitely climbed up from what they were just a couple of weeks ago after the Republican National Convention. The state of Mississippi is next, 6 electoral votes. Trump leads by 12.6% here, so that's going to go into the likely Trump column. Another state in the deep south that is not solid for Donald Trump. The South was pretty much solid for the Republicans for a couple of decades here. However, now as we will see later on in this video, as more states are filled in, Alabama will probably be the only solid red state in the Deep South. The state of Missouri is next, 10 electoral votes. Currently, Donald Trump leads by 12.6% here. This is a state that Barack Obama came within 0.2% of winning, and this state used to be the bellwether state. It used to be very bipartisan and not leaning too much to the left or right, just like the state of Ohio has been. However, Missouri did lose its streak after it voted for John McCain in 2008, and since then it has become more and more conservative. So Missouri is going to go into the likely Trump column. Actually, no, not likely. He only leads by 6.7% here. I apologize for that. He leads by 12.6% in Mississippi and only 6.7% in Missouri. So that's actually going to go into the lean Trump column for Donald Trump in the state of Missouri. The state of Montana, 3 electoral votes. Montana is not that safe for President Trump as it was in 2016. He only leads by 8.5%. So that is, again, another step down. And in the state of Nebraska, Nebraska is also pretty interesting, just like the state of Maine. The second district is, of course, the swing district. Currently, Trump leads by 2% in the first district, which I'm going to talk about first. The first district, Trump leads only by 2%. That's going to be a lean margin. That's not too good for a Republican in the first district of Nebraska, while the third district is solid for Donald Trump. Of course, the third district is, of course, the most conservative district in the entire country, while at large, Trump leads with an average of 7%. That's going to go into the likely Trump column. And then out of the second district of Nebraska, currently, Joe Biden leads by 7%. So that's going to be a likely district for the vice president in the state of Nebraska. The state of Nevada, 6 electoral votes. Joe Biden currently leads by 5.5%. That's going to go into the lean Biden column. The numbers here for Joe Biden are actually not too good in the state of Nevada. Currently, according to the latest CNN and New York Times poll, Biden only leads by 4% here. This is only 1.5% better than Clinton's 2016 margins. So that is not too great for Joe Biden. However, still, he is expected to win this state. This was a state that Trump was expected to win in 2016, but he did not win it. So it's a good sign that Joe Biden is leading in the state, as Clinton outperformed the polls here by 2.5% 4 years ago. The state of New Hampshire has also definitely gotten closer. Joe Biden only leads by 6.7%, so this is going to be moved from a likely to a lean classification for Joe Biden. His numbers have definitely fallen here in the state of New Hampshire. Biden only leads by 3%, according to the New York Times poll that came out. The state of New Jersey, Joe Biden leads by 19%. That's solid. Really nothing to talk about here. While the state of New Mexico, Joe Biden leads by 12.6%. Like Colorado, the numbers here have gone down for Joe Biden. He led by over 15% in the summer, now only by 12.6%. However, still a likely state for the vice president. The state of New York, 29 electoral votes, of course, going to be solid. He leads by 26.5%, the former vice president. And the state of North Carolina, Joe Biden leads by 1.2%. Joe Biden has been leading in the state for the entire duration of the election. The numbers have basically been between 1 to 2% in favor of Joe Biden. And of course, according to the latest CNN and New York Times poll, Joe Biden leads by 1%. So a very narrow race in North Carolina. And I think that if all votes were counted, Joe Biden would win. But because of the voter suppression tactics and a lot of the mail-in ballots already being sent back, mainly ballots from African Americans in a very unproportional way, I think that Trump may just be able to win this state because of that. And following state of North Carolina is the state of North Dakota. Currently, Trump leads by 21%, so it's going to go into the Trump column, definitely a safe state. The state of Ohio, currently Donald Trump leads by 1.5% right now. And like the state of Georgia, this is a very close state. It has always been very close. So that's going to go into the Trump column, plus 1.5% in the state of Ohio. This used to be the bellwether state. However, if Joe Biden wins the election and Trump carries Ohio, it will break its over 60-year-long streak. And I just realized I skipped the state of Iowa. Currently, Iowa, Trump leads by 1.8%. I apologize for that. Iowa is going to be in the tilt Trump column as well, joining the states of Ohio and Georgia. The state of Oklahoma, 7 electoral votes. Trump currently leads by an average of 23.8%. That's going to be a solid GOP state. While the state of Oregon, this is a new state that we have on this map, a new state in which data has come out of. Joe Biden leads by 12% here. I think this is definitely way too low for the vice president. I think it's going to be a solid state, but there's only been one poll out, like the state of Missouri. So the state of, Arkansas. So the state of Oregon is still going to have to be put into the likely Biden column right now. The state of Pennsylvania, 20 electoral votes. This is, in my opinion, the most likely tipping point state of this election. Joe Biden leads by 4.9%. The numbers have definitely narrowed in the state of Pennsylvania. This is Joe Biden's birth state, so that's going to be put into the lean Biden column. And according to the newest Marist College poll, Joe Biden leads by 8 and 9% respectively in those two new polls. So the state of Pennsylvania, 20 electoral votes, is currently a lean state for Joe Biden. The state of Rhode Island is no data out of this state, so we're going to classify it at the end of this video. In the state of South Carolina, 9 electoral votes is currently in favor of Donald Trump by 7.1%, so I'm going to move it up from being a lean to a likely state. South Dakota, there's also no data, so it's going to go into the no data column. The state of Tennessee, Trump leads by 12.4%, so this is another southern state in which Donald Trump does not have a solid margin in. So right now, the only state that Trump has a solid margin in the entire Bible Belt and the South in general is the state of Alabama. The state of Texas is next. Currently, Donald Trump leads by only 1.2%, in a state that he won by over 8% in 2016, and a state that Mitt Romney won by 16% in 2012. So Texas is going to be in the tilt Trump column. Texas has always been very close this election cycle after Joe Biden's peak in the summer, in which he was actually leading in this state. However, his numbers have fallen recently, so Texas is still going to be in the Trump column. The state of Utah currently is polling in favor of the president by 11.9%. That's going to be a likely state, another one in the president's column. While the state of Vermont, there's no data out of Bernie Sanders' home state. It's going to go into the yellow column as well. The state of Virginia, Joe Biden leads by 11%. That's going to be a likely state. The GOP is basically dead here. They have not won a statewide election in the state of Virginia in over a decade, so Virginia is almost definitely going to go to Joe Biden. State of Washington, he leads by 25.7%, so definitely very safe for the vice president. And I apologize for missing a lot of these states. I did also miss the state of Montana somehow. Currently in the state of Montana, currently, Donald Trump leads by 8.5% here. I apologize for that. That's also going to be a likely state. Numbers not too great for him right now. And we have only 3 more states left. First, the state of West Virginia, definitely solid for Donald Trump. He leads by 36%. And the state of Wisconsin, Joe Biden leads by 6.7%. Also one of the closest states. It will be moved from likely to lean since our last classification. The state of Wisconsin, I think, is going to be safer for Joe Biden than the state of Pennsylvania. But Wisconsin has definitely gotten closer in the recent weeks. And our final state, the state of Wyoming, of course, no data. Nobody really lives here. And this state was so solid for the GOP in 2016. Went to Trump with over a 40% margin here in the state of Wyoming. So now, based on the polling data, Joe Biden has 305 electoral votes to President Trump with 197, and we have 36 electoral votes from a state in which there are no data in. So I'm going to fill in these states right now. They're all going to be either solid for Joe Biden or Donald Trump. Wyoming, South Dakota, definitely solid for the president, putting him over 200 electoral votes, while the states of Illinois, Vermont, and the state of Rhode Island are definitely going to be safe for Joe Biden, along with the District of Columbia. So according to a new updated 2020 presidential election map, Joe Biden has 335 electoral votes to President Trump with 203. This is not my prediction. This is just the map based on the latest polling numbers, with the note that it's filled in as safe states for either candidate, as they were safe for either candidate in 2016. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel as well as liking this video. Leave your thoughts in the comments below along with video suggestions for videos you'd like to see from me in the future, and I will see you in the next video.